Hi, I'm Erica. I am your host of Powered by Joy podcast. I am a mom, a grandma. I am also an entrepreneur. I also love things to do with motorsports. I love taking my motorcycle to the racetrack and our car. So I love exciting things and adventure. I love to travel. I love to learn and grow, but I also love anything that is woo-woo and growing that way. I also love sparkles and pretty colors. So I also am pursuing joy myself and learning how to bring that to my life. So I'm here talking to you. If you are someone who feels bored, stuck, you have a lot of pent up emotions, feel anger, and maybe you even feel helpless to make change because you felt that way so long. And we're going to explore and get empowered to live a life that is on purpose and filled with more joy and pursuing more joy. And we're going to do that without sacrificing our commitment to our family and our friends. So welcome, and I am excited to go on this journey and a quest for joy with you.
Hi, welcome to Powered by Joy podcast. And I'm Erica, your host. And today I wanted to talk about something that came to mind for me while I was playing on a racing simulator. And those are all our racetracks up above that we have visited. And it's a big passion in our life of anybody who knows us. And anyways, it just hit me that there's a lot of times where you can kind of tie over the thought of the simulator. So we're not talking about life being a simulation. We're talking about that practice that you get. So for us on the track, if we're going to go out to the track, if we can find that same track on the simulator, then we can be here in our safety and practice. And the good thing about being on the simulator is if you crash, then you aren't paying to repair your car and you aren't getting physically hurt. So like there's not that price to pay. So one of the things I was thinking about was, I have things that I feel like I've been making decisions about lately, and also having had people that have come over and been on the simulator besides us, and we keep a nice leaderboard that I'll have to show you sometime. And one of the things that we notice is that everybody kind of gets on there and has a totally different approach. And some people definitely have an approach that is more like another, like there's, watch my phone off. People are more grouped, like some people are cautious, some people are like sending it. And then there's in between. And I think that really correlates with choices and decisions. So I was just thinking about how the decisions we make can be correlated to that, because we sometimes have people that jump on there and they just get on there and they are foot all the way down, pedal to the metal, going as fast as they can. And they don't know the track. They just go as fast as they can. And they're just reacting as things are happening and coming to them. They don't know where they're going. And they're just, reacting. And usually the people that do that crash, and they crash a lot. And then they get frustrated and, and they definitely get clouded thinking because they're angry or frustrated with themselves. And I know that I personally have been like, hey, why don't you try taking like just one lap and just putt around the track so you can see it and see what's coming and kind of learn it. And so then your brain knows, and then like just add a little speed as you go. And very often it seems like the people that like to just send it don't like to just slow down. It's very rare that one of those people that that type of thinking will do that, in my experience. And so I just think about like in life, if you're making decisions and you're not really thinking it through, planning, or like maybe you're just making choices in your life that you're not thinking through, you're reacting, and then the outcome feels like a car crash. It could be a car crash, but like it could just leave a whole bunch of debris, damage, or pain behind. And like someone who's going that fast or trying to go that fast and not slow down and take any time to look at where they've been or where they're going, that pause, that just taking in what's going on, like, do I have gas in the car? Are my brakes, working in the car? Like all of that, they're just getting in and going as fast as they can. And then, they end up in a wreck. And that, can correlate to our real life choices and how it is sometimes more useful to swing over to the other side. So let's go over to the other side, we'll call it a pendulum. So we've got sending it, no fear. And then over here, we've got super cautious, got some fear. They're scared. They're really unsure. This is an unknown thing to them. And these are people that maybe stay in first gear or they never shift. Or maybe they get into one more higher gear and then they never leave it. And they putt around super slow. They won't put the gas on. They don't really want to go too much faster. And, it takes them forever to get anywhere, right? So sometimes it feels like they're never going to reach their destination. And maybe once in a while, a person like that will speed up and something will happen and the car gets a little squirrely and they freak out. So they're going back down to first gear and I'm going to just put along and I'm standing right in the middle. I'm just going to go my way. And they're missing kind of the thrill of the experience of living too, because they're just like playing it safe, like being super careful. And these are people that, if you were thinking of it like in life choices, these might be people who overanalyze, they have analysis paralysis, and you are somebody who maybe just like, you don't want to make the wrong choice, so you make no choice, right? And it just is paralyzing. There's fear of the unknown, and there might be so much fear that even though they're going slowly around the track over and over again, and they're still going the same pace, is because they're so filled with fear that all they can do is hold tight and grip and stay where they think they're safest. And then they don't get all the other experiences and they can't take in anything else because they're so focused on what they're scared of and don't want to have happen. And oftentimes they don't progress, right? So we've got people way over here, and you can miss out on some of life's opportunities if you're in that side over here. And there might be some adventures that you could have and learning lessons you might have if you go a little faster. Now, I am not super fast. There are much faster people on our leaderboard, but I think that trying to fall in the middle, and I like to think I'm somewhere in the middle. Probably if I'm in the middle, I'm probably just like to the cautious side, and then every once in a while I step over to the not so cautious side. And I think that we can think of that in our life, like in one way, like life is not a dress rehearsal. We hear that all the time, right? But in a way, the choices we make, hopefully they're not life and death ones, but in general, our daily choices we're making for what we eat, if we're going to meditate, if we're going to exercise, are we getting a good amount of sleep? Am I yelling at my spouse, or am I trying to take a minute and breathe and think and reflect first before having a conversation and actually taking the time to think about, is this a good time to have that conversation so that it's actually productive and has the intent to have a good outcome instead of just releasing pent-up anger or emotions. Those are all choices we get to make. And I was having a conversation yesterday where I have a warrior buddy, and we were talking, and she was saying, it's kind of nice to hear that, like, when other people maybe are having off days or having struggles, so that I don't feel like I'm the only one having these struggles. And it just occurred to me that like sometimes we let that fear stop us from just trying to do things, and it robs us of joy and excitement in our lives. And sometimes we go over to the other side and we're just in such a hurry and we're so determined to get to an outcome, and we're going to force that lap time. I'm going to force myself to get around that fast. This is the outcome. This is it, how it looks, how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, so we can control the situation. All of that is experiences we're having, and in a way it's kind of like a simulation too. And we get to practice, and so life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. But at the same time, like taking the pressure off of ourselves, that sometimes when we're making decisions, some bigger, some others maybe are just those daily little choices that stack up to big outcomes. Think of them more like practice and like a simulator, and practice making those decisions and taking that pressure off of that it might be a wrong choice, and trusting yourself that you have the ability to maneuver yourself through the situation if maybe the outcome isn't ideal or what you were hoping for. And then the magic is, if you feel like the outcome of the choice you made is not ideal or what you wanted, instead of thinking of it as a fail, you might hear this a lot, it's better to try to think of it and ask yourself with curiosity, not judgment, asking yourself, okay, what did I learn? And you're not failing if you're learning. So it's not a mistake if you stop, reflect, and go, what did I learn? What can I do different next time I'm in the same situation? So same thing as the simulator. You go off track that time, you've gone too fast, you didn't steer it just right, or you put too much input into your steering wheel, and so then the car went. That's the same thing as life. So next time you come to that corner, you're like, oh, I'm not going to veer off and be extreme with my reaction or my turn in. I'm going to actually just like be smooth and think and be careful and slow down just a little bit. Maybe it's just that little different. So the next time you go through, it's that 1% you hear about. If you go through the same situation, same turn on the racetrack, and you just adjust it, that one little 1%, it doesn't have to be extreme. It can make all the difference in the outcome, because that trajectory really shoots you somewhere. So I wear this necklace to remind myself that if I feel like I keep getting the same lesson in life, and I'm like, my old self would be like, oh, I'm not getting it. I keep having this, I keep creating this kind of scenario for myself. So like, there must be some karma I haven't paid off, or why does this keep happening to me? I must not be figuring out or learning my lesson. And the frustration of, beating ourselves up like that, where I think I'm realizing like it's actually that we're going to continue to have similar lessons, but each time it comes back into your life, maybe you have a certain person that you see every once in a while that really pisses you off, like really just, and maybe you just handle yourself 1% better. You don't tell them to fuck off when you see them. Instead, you're like, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree, but I hear you. That's a huge shift. You have not gotten yourself into a place of anger. You're just acknowledging them. So that was 1% better. So next time I come around, I've expanded. So it's like an orbit. So each time you do a little bit better, your reaction is just a little bit better, a little bit healthier. Maybe it's a little bit more thought out. You intentionally made a different choice, or you caught yourself and you're like, oh, this is that thing happening again. I'm going to do better, so that when it comes around, I'm a different person. So you get to make a different choice each time that person comes around, that puts you in a cycle that you repeat and repeat, and it irritates you. What would happen if you reacted 1% differently? You don't change them. You just change how you react 1% different, and see how it feels inside your body. And Next time it comes around, maybe the same thing doesn't even get said or happen. And maybe it starts to change the dynamic. So for me, it's that continual, as long as I'm expanding and growing, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to always make the right choice. I'm not always going to handle myself perfect. But if I bit my tongue, maybe didn't whip out my sword, my Xenia warrior princess sword, and lob someone's head off because I'm ticked off. Instead, I just take a breath, maybe 5, and count backwards, or taking that pause and going, okay, I'm totally pissed right now, but I'm not going to engage in this situation the same. So here's an example story. I am a recovering, I don't know if I'm in full recovery, to be honest. I get road rage with left lane campers, especially when I'm driving long distances and there's only 2 lanes and you've got someone camping and there's other cars in the right lane and they're just hanging out. It literally sends me into, okay, so that's not the exact example I was going to think of, but like if someone cuts me off or they rush by or something, it used to make me really mad. And now I try to ask myself most of the time, like maybe they have to poop, maybe they have kids screaming, maybe their baby is screaming in the backseat, or maybe they're rushing to the hospital, or whatever the thing is. Like, you know what, you go in front of me. It definitely, that piece has definitely shifted my energy when I'm driving around that stuff, where before that stuff used to really make me mad. Like it just set me off instantly. And I'm sure anyone who's ridden with me would probably confirm that that is how I feel. So anyhow, not proud of it, but I'm much better. Left lane campers, I don't have an answer for that yet. So if you have an idea, you can message me, comment, email me, tell me your idea around that one, besides a neon sign or something. Anyways, okay. So back to the simulation and the simulator and choices. When you get back around to having these same, you're on another lap, same turn, making a different choice. A lot of people that do racing and they spend time on the track, they come off the track and they get out from behind the wheel and they reflect. They look at the map. Where were the corners I was struggling at? Where were the bad choices made? Where was I rushing? Where was I not going fast enough? Where was there space for me to push myself a little harder, or a lot harder? Am I trusting myself? Like, I have a problem with trusting the brakes. So like, I don't go as fast if I don't trust the brakes and trust myself to handle the situation on the track. So I will be hesitant and less confident, which affects my speed and outcome. So good tactics are to come off the track and reflect, watch video of what you did and seeing, okay, where am I sticking up, and like, then you find that mentor or someone who's doing that better than you. And you ask them, hey, I'm going through this. I keep hitting this corner the same way. I'm going too slow. I'm going too fast. Right? Like I can't figure out how to get in there. And people that have figured out or been down the path before you love to give you those tips and share and see you succeed and cut that time off. And then you get to share that excitement when you're like, I nailed that freaking corner. And I just took a second off my lap time. So very satisfying, right? So taking that time to get out of the driver's seat, journal, reflect, meditate. In life, it might be sitting down, talking with a friend. If we're frustrated or needing to make a decision, it's that pause time, it's that reflection time. And you do the same thing when you're racing or using the simulator. You want to take that time to come off the track and go, hey, how did I do? And reflect, and what did I learn? And this is another piece, what on the next time I'm in this situation, or next time I'm on another lap in the same car, what one thing, I'm not going to we all try to like improve and like, okay, tomorrow's gonna be a better day. I'm gonna do 6 new steps in the morning and my self-care, and I'm gonna start a nighttime routine, and I'm gonna work out, and I'm gonna do this and that, and I'm gonna start it all tomorrow. And oftentimes we don't, and we fall off, and we never hold to that new change that's supposed to improve our lives or improve our lap time. So many the mentors and teachers I've worked with have talked about, like, after you've reflected, pick one thing, 1%. You're going to go back out there tomorrow. What's the one choice you're going to make for yourself? The one thing you're going to do 1% better to get yourself towards a healthier you, or a happier you, or a wealthier you. What is that one thing that you can think about? Maybe tomorrow you just start drinking water. That's a big one for me. I'm trying to hydrate. Remembering to hydrate. You think I wouldn't forget with such a big cup there, and it's sparkly and beautiful, but hydrating. And, tomorrow I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to put my alarm on to remember to drink my water throughout the day. If I'm trying to add too many things at once, my success rate's going to probably just be kind of in the dumps. But if I can sit down the day before or the morning of and go, okay, today it's all about my water intake, or today I'm going to do 10 minutes of exercise, or I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes and meditate. It's just doing that one thing. And on the track, it would be picking one corner, and what are you doing to improve to get through that corner better and faster. And so it's so similar and shares back and forth. And I love how much the racetrack and having time out there doing motorsports on the bikes and the cars has really taught me a lot of lessons that correlate to real life and making decisions. And I think that's why I'm passionate about it, because it's taught me so many concepts that transfer over to business and to relationships. And it teaches me how to look at situations. I think it's easier to look at the outcomes of a lap or a session out on the track with less emotion. Yes, I get mad if I'm not doing well, but like, it's also like hard facts, like how you did. So you can look and practice. It's a place to practice observing your behavior and your choices and what you can do better. And it creates the habit of looking without judgment, going, oh, okay, what did I do on this lap? Learning to ask for help, or reflecting, is there something I'm not figuring out? Learning to ask for help more quickly from the right person. Let's just talk about that another time, picking the right people to be asking advice from, and then putting that into place and not spending a whole bunch of time beating myself up and judging myself. And one of the things that helped me move forward quicker, like if I did make a choice and I felt like I did poorly, when I first started out on the track, it was like I would get so mad, and I would like take the whole rest of the session if I made one mistake, and my mind would be like totally focused on what are you doing out here? You suck at this. Like, everybody saw what you did and you look so dumb, and you're not representing ladies. You shouldn't be out here, and all this silliness. And then I like started watching, kind of paying attention to how men in general, this is not a blanket statement, but seem to go out there, and if they made a mistake, it was like, whatever, next turn. Like, you see that with the professionals, like they're not going to spend 5 turns beating themselves up and going slower because they made one mistake and beating themselves up. They're like, okay, that corner wasn't good. What can I do to line myself up to make my next choice better, my next corner better? And it's the same in our lives. Like, how much time do you want to spend beating yourself up, analyzing your mistake, and, oh, that was such a bad choice? Like, it serves no purpose. If you can stop quickly, go, oh, didn't like that outcome. Let's not fuck around and play with this. Okay, moving on. What did I learn? Next corner, next choice, I'm going to make a better choice. And that has been powerful for me to realize I didn't need to spend a bunch of energy and time like beating myself up for not making the best choice. And that's definitely been one of these things where I've had to like get better and better at, but it's been a slow process. But I definitely feel like that overall lesson kind of punched me in the face. I can remember I was in turn 5 at the Ridge in Washington. And it was just like, I don't need to be mad. Like, okay, I didn't do that one right. Like, next. So that's my thing I do when I'm out there. And I do that off the track too now. Like, if I feel like I really didn't make an ideal choice or didn't get through that corner, I literally say out loud in my helmet, next. I yell it, next. And I'm like, okay. And okay, great. Moving on. And I think when we do that, we realize that our momentum towards our goals can be faster. Our momentum towards joy and happiness can be faster because we're not spending and wasting time and energy and our emotions on criticizing ourselves and knocking ourselves down for not making the best choice. Because most of the time, honestly, aren't we all making the best decision we can with the abilities, smart information we have? Like, that's usually the case. We're usually all doing the best we can. Most of us have the best intentions in the moment. And sometimes we are missing setting intentions before making decisions and learning to pause first. But usually we are doing the best we can with the information and experience and knowledge we have at the time. So let's just give ourselves a little grace and make a better choice next time if we don't like the outcome. Now, final part of this is, if you did make the right choice, do you celebrate? Do you pat yourself on the back? Do you also pause for that and go, hell yeah, I freaking rock? I learned that one in Tony Robbins. They have you say that over and over again, I freaking rock, if you make a decision. So it's really about building the muscle of celebrating. So like for me, when I come off the track or the simulator and I've broken my record, or I feel like I did a really good job, I celebrate. It might just be a whoop and a holler, or like, yes, or I might need to go tell 5 people, I broke my time faster, I dropped a second, did so good in lap, blah, 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 or I put it on the leaderboard right away if it's about the simulator, if it's a better time. So one of the things I think we miss a lot is celebrating and acknowledging when we do make a right choice, or we feel like we won at something and we made it a decision that led to something even better for ourselves. And it was for better health. It was for better emotional health. It's, for that vitality. Like, I went to bed an hour earlier. I didn't stay up and binge watch another episode of one of those shows. Yeah. It's so easy to get sucked in and waste a whole evening, get to bed at 2 a.m. And then you wake up and you're like, why did I stay up that late watching that show? And now I don't want to work out. I want to sleep in. So making that one choice to go, oh, let's not watch another episode. Let's get to bed. That's a win. And today when I woke up, I acknowledged that win for myself. It's like, yeah, good job. Because then I had the time and the energy to get up and do the things that set me up for my best day or my best lap on the track, because I've done all the steps to prep myself. So every little decision I'm making, I practice each day at making better choices for myself. And I'm going to have off days and I'm going to have really awesome days. Today has felt like a great day. And yesterday was harder, but I still went through all the steps, but I felt like I had a slow lap yesterday. And I felt like I was having a hard time getting through some of the turns, or maybe I just ran out of gas. So we just need to make sure we celebrate those wins. And the more we do that, we build those neurons and those pathways, and our body and our brain are like, oh yeah, we liked it when we did that. So let's do that again. So reward yourself, acknowledge that you drank all the water you intended, like literally pat yourself on the back. Good job, self. You drank all your water. Like, just do it. It can feel a little silly. And I get some looks sometimes when people are around. My husband's very used to all of that silliness, and my kids. But you just have to give yourselves those wins. Like, I don't care how small it is, celebrate yourself and acknowledge it. We don't do that enough. We're so quick to spend tons of time and energy on acknowledging the screw ups or mistakes we make. Like, why aren't we putting that same energy or more on the wins and what progress we are making? And so I would encourage you to take that as your takeaway, is that you got to celebrate your wins and don't count them as failures. But when you feel like you made a mistake or didn't make the best choice, pausing, what did you learn? Be curious and not judge yourself. And then you can say, okay, next time I'm in that situation, I'm going to try this choice instead. Write it down if it won't stick in your brain. I have had to do that, like write down, okay, today, when I'm feeling this way, I'm not going to get a cookie. I'm going to drink water, and I'm going to pick up my journal, or I'm going to go turn on the music really loud, and I'm going to dance to one song really silly and shake it off. And then I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. So just finding those little tools, right? So, and also just not putting so much weight on like that you've made a decision, and most of our daily decisions are not life and death or we'll call it irreversible. There are some choices that are serious and are irreversible. Those, I hope you take that time to really seek counsel, think through things, be very careful and thoughtful. But in those daily choices we're making, and that not putting so much weight on them that when we maybe don't make the right one, that we're like, oh, beating ourselves up or giving up or quitting. Like, let's not do that. So just try for 1% better, one thing tomorrow that you're going to do better when you're practicing, going through this simulation or going on another lap around the track. Just trying one corner to improve on. So those are my takeaways for today. And I hope that you enjoyed my little chat here where I want to share my thoughts about things related to track and life.
Thank you for listening to this episode today. If you found it helpful, I would love it if you consider sharing it with somebody that you think also might benefit from hearing it and joining this community. Also, I would like to invite you to join by subscribing, rating, reviewing to help us get the word out, and checking out my website. There you can join our monthly quest calls and get plugged into this community and ask questions, and you can see what other events are coming up. So I'd love it if you check that out, or you can follow me on Instagram. So thank you for joining this quest for joy.